Look, let me guess how this went. You got your first real paycheck. Not your summer job money, your adult money, and at some point, maybe casually, maybe under pressure, maybe because everyone else was doing it, you made one decision. You didn't think much of it. It didn't feel dramatic. It didn't even feel like a financial decision. But years later, you're still dealing with it. You're wondering why saving feels hard, why your money disappears faster than it should, why you make good money but somehow don't feel ahead. And the wild part, it wasn't because you didn't budget hard enough. It wasn't because you bought too many coffees. It wasn't because you didn't know about investing. It was one choice you made once, and it quietly shaped everything after. And if you're watching this thinking, that might be me, yeah, stay with me. My name is Ryan, and I spend way too much time thinking about how everyday financial decisions quietly compound into massive long-term outcomes. If you're someone who feels like you're doing everything right, but still not getting ahead, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because today we're talking about the single decision that affects your money for years, and almost nobody treats it with the seriousness it deserves. The decision that locks in your financial trajectory. Here's the thing. When people talk about big money decisions, they usually point to stuff like buying a house, picking stocks, starting a business. But that's not the decision I'm talking about. The decision that actually shapes your financial life happens way earlier, often before you feel qualified to make it. And that decision is choosing your lifestyle baseline, not your income, not your job, your baseline. What most people think is happening, most people believe this story. Once I make more money, I'll start saving. Once I get that raise, things will calm down. Once I'm more established, I'll be responsible. Sounds logical, right? But here's what most people don't realize. Your brain doesn't upgrade financially in the future. It locks in right now. Lifestyle inflation. The silent contract you sign. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, households earning over $100,000 per year still report living paycheck to paycheck at rates above 40%. Let that sink in. These aren't people struggling to survive. These are people who should be comfortable. So what's happening? Lifestyle inflation. But not the TikTok version of it, the real version. Lifestyle inflation isn't buying something fancy, treating yourself. Once it's setting expectations your future income has to serve. Once your brain gets used to a certain apartment, car payment, subscription, stack, travel frequency, normal spending level that becomes non-negotiable. Your future raises don't feel like progress. They feel like maintenance. The math nobody shows you. Let's do real numbers. Say you're 25. You make $60,000 a year. After taxes, maybe you take home about $3,700 per month. Now imagine two people. Person A, rent, $1,200 car payment, $350 fixed lifestyle costs, approximately $2,300 savings capacity, approximately $1,400 month. Person B, rent, $1,800 car payment, $550 fixed lifestyle cost, approximately $3,100 savings capacity, approximately $600 month. Same income, same age, same success. But here's where it gets really interesting. Fast forward 10 years, assume both people get raises and promotions. They now make $95,000. Person A upgrades slightly, but cautiously. They save $2,000 a month. Person B upgrades aggressively. Nicer place, nicer car. They save $900 a month. Now let's invest those savings at a very reasonable 7% annual return. Person A, approximately $2,000 a month for 10 years. Approximately $347,000. Person B, approximately $900 a month for 10 years. Approximately $156,000. Same income, same intelligence, same effort. One decision, lifestyle baseline, created a $191,000 difference. And that's before compounding really kicks in. Why your brain betrays you now. You might be thinking, okay, but I deserve to enjoy my money. Of course you do. That's not the issue. The issue is timing. Your brain is wired for immediate comfort, not future leverage. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. The tendency to return to a baseline level of satisfaction regardless of changes in circumstances. Translation: the nicer apartment becomes normal, the car payment becomes just a bill. The lifestyle becomes invisible, but the financial drag stays very real. And once your lifestyle is locked in, It's emotionally painful to downgrade, even if it's mathematically brilliant. The one-time nature of this decision, here's what makes this decision so powerful. You don't redecide it every year. You decide it once, and then defend it forever. You structure your rent, your transportation, your normal spending, and everything else has to bend around it. That's why this decision affects your money for years. The hidden cost of keeping up. Look, nobody wakes up thinking, today I will sabotage my financial future. It happens socially. You compare apartments. You normalize car payments. You match lifestyles with people making more than you or drowning quietly. According to Federal Reserve data, nearly 1 in 3 Americans could cover a $400 emergency without borrowing. And a huge chunk of them earn good money. Why? Because their baseline eats everything first. The first surprising insight. Here's the insight most people miss. Your savings rate matters more than your income. Someone saving 30% of $60,000 is wealthier than someone saving 5% of $120,000 long term. Income impresses people. Savings rate builds freedom. And your lifestyle baseline determines that rate automatically. Action step first. Do this today. I want you to do this, literally today. Write down your fixed monthly commitments. Ask, if my income stayed the same for 3 years, would I feel trapped? Identify one expense that exists purely because it became normal. That's the pressure point. How to use this decision to your advantage. Alright, now that we've talked about how this one decision quietly controls your money, let's talk about how to use it on purpose. Because this is the part nobody explains. Everyone tells you, spend less, or make more money, or invest early. But none of that works if your lifestyle baseline is already maxed out. So instead of fighting your behavior every month, we're going to design around it. And this is where it gets really interesting. The concept of financial headroom. Here's a phrase I want you to remember. Financial headroom. Headroom is the gap between what you could spend and what you actually spend. And that gap, that's where wealth comes from. Most people eliminate headroom as fast as possible. Raise, gone. Bonus, spent. Side hustle money, lifestyle upgrade. They don't realize they're doing it because it feels like progress. But financially, they're running at 100% capacity all the time. And any unexpected expense, car repair, medical bill, job change, immediately becomes a crisis. Why your brain hates headroom? This is important. Your brain doesn't like unused capacity. If you have extra money, extra space, extra comfort, your brain wants to fill it. Psychologists call this Parkinson's law. Expenses rise to match income. Not because you're irresponsible. Because you're human. So if you don't protect headroom intentionally, it disappears automatically. The future you trade off. Nobody calculates every lifestyle upgrade has a hidden price tag, not the monthly payment. The future opportunity cost. Let's say upgrading your apartment costs an extra $500 a month. That feels manageable, right? But let's zoom out. $500 month invested at 7% for 30 years equal to about $600,000. That's not an exaggeration. That's compound interest. So the real question isn't, can I afford this? It's, is this apartment worth $500,000 of future freedom? Most people never frame it that way, which is why the decision feels easy. Why high earners still feel broke. This explains something that confuses a lot of people. You see someone making $150,000, $200,000, even more, and they still say things like, I don't feel rich. I can't slow down. I need this job. It's not because they don't make enough. It's because their lifestyle baseline requires that income. They didn't buy freedom. They bought fragility. And once your life depends on a certain paycheck, you stop having options. The psychological shift that changes everything. Here's the mental flip. Stop viewing lifestyle restraint as sacrifice. Start viewing it as option building. Every dollar you don't commit permanently buys you time, flexibility, leverage, peace, and the crazy part. You barely feel the difference day to day. Because remember hedonic adaptation? You adapt down to. A simple analogy that makes this click: think of your finances like breathing. If you're constantly holding your breath, no margin, no slack, everything feels stressful. Headroom is oxygen. You don't notice it until it's gone. The lifestyle lock-in test. Here's a test I want you to run. Ask yourself, if my income dropped 20% tomorrow, what would break? Not what would be uncomfortable. What would actually fail? Housing? Transportation? Debt payments? Childcare? Those are signals that your baseline is too tight. And this test isn't about fear, it's about awareness. Action step 3. Design your enough number. Most people chase more without defining enough. That's how you end up rich and miserable. So do this. Define your comfortable monthly lifestyle, add a buffer, commit to protecting the gap above that number. That gap is where wealth lives. The most underrated financial flexibility move. This one's big. Keep at least one major expense optional. Optional rent, optional car, optional location, optional schedule. When everything is fixed, life feels heavy. When something is flexible, everything feels lighter. Why this gets emotionally hard? Let's be honest. This stuff isn't hard mathematically. It's hard socially. You don't want to feel behind. You don't want to feel cheap. You don't want to explain yourself. But here's the trade-off most people miss. Temporary discomfort now versus permanent stress later. One of those compounds. The snowball effect of margin. Once you create margin, weird things happen. You negotiate harder, work, you invest more. Confidently, you take smarter risks. You sleep better. Money stops feeling like pressure and starts feeling like a tool. And that's when the game changes. The second big insight, here's what most people really don't realize. You don't need to optimize everything. You just need to avoid locking in bad decisions. Wealth isn't built by brilliance. It's built by not making irreversible mistakes. If you're already stuck now, if you're watching this thinking, okay, but I already made the decision. Good news. You can renegotiate your baseline. It might be uncomfortable. It might feel like a step back, but it's actually a step toward control. And control beats comfort every time. Final reframe, this isn't about being extreme. It's about being awake. The one decision you make once, your lifestyle baseline, doesn't just affect your money. It affects how free you feel, how much risk you can take, how many paths are open to you. In the early you treat it with respect, the more unfair your financial life starts to feel, in a good way. Final call to action. Strong close. So here's your move. Don't wait for a raise. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for later. Decide once that future you matters. Protect your margin. Defend your headroom. And stop upgrading your life faster than your freedom. If this helped you see money differently, hit subscribe, hit the like button, and send this to someone who's about to make a small decision that quietly controls the next 10 years of their life. Because comfort fades, but options compound.